Okay, good evening, everybody. Once again, I welcome you all to this wonderful session, the webinar series that Tech Savvy has been holding. This is the seventh webinar that we are holding in the Tech Savvy series. Today, we have a wonderful session lined up. As you are all aware, we are going to talk about the national education policy and technical and vocational education and training. Before we start this session, I will kindly request you all to maintain the decorum of the webinar and keep your microphones on mute during the session so that the speakers are not disturbed. In case you have any questions, please feel free to use the option of raise hand, or at the end of the session, we will have the question and answer session where you can turn on your webcams, and your questions will be taken one by one, and you can address it to whichever speaker you like. To start with, we will be starting this session with Father Fernandes, who is the speaker who will be talking about the national education policy. If you will permit me a few minutes, I will just read out his profile. Father Tellis, as he's very fondly called, was appointed the new Deputy Secretary of the Western Region Bishops' Council and assumed charge in mid-August 2019. He was born to Goan parents, James and Martha, and he did his schooling in the iconic St. Xavier's School, Mirzapur, Ahmedabad, with BA honors in English literature at St. Xavier's College, Ahmedabad. He completed his philosophy and theology studies at Papal Athenaeum, Pune, and was ordained a priest on 25th of April 1992 at the age of just 30. And during the Regency period, he completed his B.Ed and MA degrees and also taught as an assistant teacher at St. Xavier's School, Mirzapur, Ahmedabad. He went on to complete his M.Ed and PhD degrees at St. Xavier's College of Education, Palayam, Kottai, Tamil Nadu, and MS University, Baroda, Gujarat, respectively. His first appointment was as a principal at St. Xavier's High School, Disa, in 1992. In 97, he was the principal of St. Joseph School, Gomtipur, and in 2000, he took charge as the secretary of the Gujarat Education Board of Catholic Institutions. After the bifurcation of the diocese in 2002, he opted to serve in the newly created Archdiocese of Gandhinagar. He was then shifted to St. Xavier's School, Himmatnagar, which was in its infancy, and then he succeeded in getting the permission to start the pre-primary teachers training college and also the primary teacher training, DED college, of which he was the principal. Again, no surprise. In 2018, he was once again given the mantle of secretaryship of the Gujarat Education Board of Catholic Institutions, and then in 2019 was given the additional responsibility of being the Vicar General of the Gandhinagar Archdiocese. His ordination motto has been, "Lord, make me an instrument of your love," and his hobbies are reading and cooking. So that's Father Tillis for us. Father Tillis, the
Yeah,
dais is all yours.
thank you.
Yes, we can see your PowerPoint screen now.
Is it full? Full screen?
Not yet. You'll have to turn it full screen.
Yes.
There you go.
Now?
Perfect. Yes, sir. Please
Yes.
proceed.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening. Good evening, sir.
I wish Chintan, the moderator, and both my colleagues, co-panelists, Swathi and Amar, all the best. The old order changes, yielding place to new, and God fulfills himself in many ways. Lest one good thing corrupts the world. That's the great lines from one of the very famous poets of English language. And we all have to be ready for change. And change is natural, and change has to be, however painful it may be, we have to be ready for change. And today, I'll be speaking on the understanding of NEP 2020 in totality of it. And my presentation will be as follows: the bird's eye view. I have an introduction, then evolution of education in post-Indian independent India, and the highlights of NEP 2020, enticing aspects in NEP 2020, enticing means positive aspects, areas of concern in NEP 2020, and decoding of vocational education in NEP 2020, recommendation and conclusion. This is what I intend to speak about during this webinar. When I first got the copy of this NEP 2020 and read it, it had a wow effect for me. So too for the educationalists, enlightened politicians, I say enlightened politicians, parents, and the focal point of our educational endeavor, namely the students. As we know that NEP 2019 caused a huge uproar and dissent among many stakeholders in the echelons of education. Many termed it saffronization of education, some centralization of education, others politicization of education, etc. But these voices were very much muted in the 66-page document of NEP 2020. But nevertheless, concerns, cynicism, doubt, lack of clarity in the way forward, absence of mechanisms for monitoring, checks, and balancing, and seemingly hidden agenda of the present dispensation is somewhat of a worrying factor, we feel. But reading the document, that has brought about a sense of deja vu and a sort of freshness and an experience of the wind of change that was long overdue. It took 34 years, in fact, for the third NEP to come up in our Indian context. But it is very good to know the background of it, what went before. Unless we know the past, we will not be able to appreciate the present and the future. And that's what brings us to the realization of what happened and what was the situation in post-independent India, the evolution of education that took place thereafter. So in post-independent India in 1947, we had 400 schools, 19 universities, 5,000 students. Literacy rate was in 1951, 18%. Presently, there are about 1.5 million schools, 751 universities, around 35,000 colleges, and approximately 315 million students. Imagine 315 million students, we would have the whole population of Europe probably. And in 2011, the literacy rate was 73%. So we can well appreciate the work that has gone along all these past years. And we'll be able to appreciate the work undertaken by the different governments that came our way, and they tried to propagate education in our country. We had Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad, India's first Minister of Education, and he envisaged strong central government control over education throughout the country with a uniform educational system. See, all the governments have tried to have centralization, control over education, because they could control the minds of the people of the country. And this has been the endeavor of all the governments, past and present. The Union government established the University Education Commission in 1948-49, which was best known as the Radhakrishnan Commission, a very beautiful piece of work with regard to education, highlighting the philosophy of education. Beautiful, worth reading. Then we had the Second Education Commission in 1952-53, known as the Motalia Commission. And then we had a University Grant Commission, the present UGC that we have in 1953, and then the Kothari Commission, another very good commission that we had in 1964-66 by Dr. Kothari. And this education commission wanted to modernize Indian education system. The first education policy was in 1968, which was based on the recommendation of Kothari Commission, and that was by Indira Gandhi government, which was wanting radical restructuring and equal educational opportunities for all people of our country. Also, they wanted to make education compulsory for children, that is from age 5 to 14, up to the age of 14, which was the constitutional mandate, which the government tried to propagate also. And then the focus was on learning of regional languages, and we had the famous 3-language formula during that time. So the second national education policy came in 1986 by the Rajiv government, and they laid special emphasis on the removal of disparities and to equalize educational opportunities. So equity in education was the main goal. And the women, scheduled tribes, STs and SCs and OBCs and other backward communities were given preference so that they come up to the standards of the country. To achieve such social integration, a policy called for expanding scholarships. Adult education was there, and for the poor and marginalized people, they wanted to give scholarships. And then NAP also they called for child-centered approach in the primary section. And we had this famous slogan at that time, Operation Blackboard, because many of our schools didn't have blackboards at that time. In 2019, the Ministry of Human Resource Development released a draft new education policy 2019 of 484 pages. And now this MHRD now is called Education Department. No more it is called MHRD Department. On 29 July 2020, we had this cabinet approval for the National Education Policy with an aim to introduce several changes in the Indian education system. They wanted to bring more quality education in India. What are the highlights that we can see in this NEP 2020? First, we see that the physical structure remains the same, but there is a change in the academic structure. The buildings will not change, but the academic structure is changed. Earlier we had 10+2, now it is 5-3-3-4. And importance is given to ECCE, that is Early Child Care and Education, in the foundational stage, because research shows that the development of the child's brain is about 80% at the age of 3. So they want to introduce education at means pre-primary to the second standard. We need to have foundational education, wherein the child is strengthened for a leap forward. Also, moving away from the culture of rote learning to forming holistic, well-rounded individuals equipped with the key 21st century skills. So earlier we had a lot of rote learning, cramming, parroting, whatever we learn, and then it's of no use, they say. So wanting more holistic way of understanding things, well-rounded citizens with 21st century skills. Now there is no hard separation among curricular, extracurricular, co-curricular, among arts, humanities, and science, or between vocational or academic streams. Here the stress is on quality education. While in the earlier NEPs, earlier two NEPs, 68 and 86, we had, it was more, stress was given more on access and equity. The structure of the undergraduate degree will have a duration of 3 years and 4 years with multiple entry and exit options. Master's degree will be of 1 year. For those undergoing 4 years of UGC, they can do PhD after the 4th year of UGC, and then MPhil becomes redundant, so they have cancelled that. And then we have this multidisciplinary university colleges and higher education institutions, clusters or knowledge hub, each housing 300 students in every district is proposed. 3,000 students in every district is proposed. So this was the previous one. That is earlier we had the pre-primary, which was not regulated. And then 1 to 10 standard, and then higher secondary, 10+2. Now it is, we have the foundational stage from pre-primary to the first and second standard. Then we have the preparatory stage, then we have the middle stage, and then secondary, that is 9 to 12. So this is going to be the academic structure that we are going to have. What are the enticing aspects in NEP 2020? What are the positive things that we see in this? A lot of stress is given on early child care and education, ECC. That is the foundational literacy and numeracy. The child should be able to speak the LSRW skills, plus need to count, able to count certain numbers. At an early age, the child is able to pick up and speak multi languages. So the right stress is given to promote multilingualism in school curriculum. And the document is absolutely spot on the importance of logical reasoning, critical thinking, and concept learning. Unnecessary cramming or rote learning by students without understanding is being curbed in this policy. Also today we know that children are techno-savvy, born techno-savvy. Therefore, extensive use of technology is earmarked here. And technology helps all types of learners, as we know. And they can, and the students can work at their own pace. So that is the advantage that we see in technology. The assessment would be formative and continuous. Comprehensive assessment will be there, which assists better learning actually. Then primarily depending on summative assessment, final assessment, final exams or the board exams. So this is the pressure to excel is reduced here. Also importance given to board examination is reduced by allowing students to take 2 exams in 2 parts and to even improve upon the grades by taking another shot at the exam. Also, the idea to stop coaching culture is very welcome. Focus is given to the talents of and innate abilities of the learners to choose their learning trajectories and programs. So there is flexibility for the child to choose one's own path or interest. It's critical to note that importance is given to constitutional values, ethics, and human values, which were actually missing in the draft NEP 2019. And constitutional values like democratic spirit, pluralism, then liberty, equality, justice, then ethics and human values like respect, cleanliness, all these things are brought in this NEP 2020. Also, there is a great idea to have interdisciplinary and multidisciplinary subjects in college and higher education. The students can have holistic education, which is broad-based and satisfies the taste of each individual student. What interests me, the subjects that interest me, I can choose. And then there is this multiple exit option in the undergraduate courses, which is a boon to the students. If they complete 1 year, they will get a certificate. If they complete 2 years, they will get a diploma. If they complete 3 years, they will get the bachelor's degree. And all these, their progress will be stored in this academic bank of credit, ABC, it is known as. And this will digitally store the academic credits of each student in the higher education. And teacher training courses are not churning out teachers with desired aptitude. So a 4-year compact teacher training program, the B.Ed courses, will form, they say, well-rounded teachers with strong subject knowledge foundation. And this is very, very essential for us because teachers, without good teachers, education system will never improve. And we know that good teachers make good human beings. And the institution also flourishes if we have good teachers. So the strong emphasis is given on teacher training. This is a welcome thing for all of us, educators. Then allowing selected universities from among the top 100 across the globe to come and open campuses. You know, lakhs of our students going abroad and taking a valuable money to other countries. And so they are bringing this best institutes, universities to our country. And hopefully they would be affordable colleges and universities that would also attract foreign students into India. 6% GDP spending in education was long thought of in during the Kodani Commission report. It is mentioned there, and it has remained a distant dream. And this is pledged now in this this document, which would be a game changer if they utilize it. So far, no government has utilized 6% of GDP. That is for all of us to understand. There is many areas of concern. What are the points that make that brings about concern for me? There is many a slip between the cup and the lip, they say. The education policy of past, the 2 education policies that we had were impressive, but they lacked proper implementation on the ground. We know what happens on the ground when it comes to implementation. Second, bypassing the voice of Parliament and getting NEP 2020 passed by a cabinet nod is not the right thing, I feel, in a democratic setup. So all even the opposition, the Parliament should have been taken into confidence. There is no concrete mechanism to implement this policy. It is very clear on the destination. Where we need to go is very clear. But silent about the journey, Nothing much is told how we'll be able to reach there. And also there is lacking, it lacks total lack of funding clarity is there. RT Act 2009 regulates that schooling begins from 9 years of age. So the entry point in RTA Act 2009 is 6 years of age. Okay. But here in the NEP, it is stated entry point would be 3 years. And also people feel that the childhood of the child would be brutally cut short if we begin from the age of 3. Also, the potty training is also not very well done at the age of 3, so it would be a big problem. The stark reality in our country is that we lack quality and qualified teachers. And to find these teachers to teach foundational literacy and numeracy till grade 3 is like proverbial looking for a needle in the haystack. So we lack trained teachers, even in high grades. So from where do we find such teachers, qualified teachers? Is a big problem that we are going to face. Also, there is no plan to improve upon 80 lakh teachers we already have. They have to be remolded into new setup. How do we do that? That is not mentioned. Also, many untrained teachers. Are we going to have any special training for them? Nothing is mentioned about that. Then we have this multiplicity of agencies that we have. NHERC, NAC, HEGC, GEC, and then we have the umbrella body which will control everything, that is HECI, that is Higher Education Commission. So that would create confusion, overlapping of administrative authority, and ultimately put spokes into the smooth functioning of the education system. This is what we feel. And also over centralization and control from the top. And with all these agencies, too much of centralization and control. And we know that India is a multicultural society, multi-religious society. So how do we, propagate the differences that we have? How would we encompass all the differences that we have? We need freedom of syllabus and syllabi. So that has to be there. Also, overzealous states may strictly implement the medium of instruction, of giving a special place for home language or mother tongue or local language or regional language up to grade 5. Though the minister has denied this, that this is going to be there, it will be left free. That's what he said. But we are not very sure. And the medium of instruction, I feel, should be left with the main stakeholders, that is the parents and the students. It should not be imposed by the state. Importance of board examination is seemingly being diminished by making it easier and students' choice and the best of 2 attempts. It's going to complicate the whole examination system, some feel. Also, how do we assess the students' core competencies or capacities? It's max on wishful thinking. I don't know. I'm not very sure about this. Also, this very critical aspect that I would like to discuss is critical thinking and creativity is being encouraged from a very young age. But what we see in the national polity, critical thinking and dissent is being frowned upon. And anyone doing so is being termed as anti-national, terrorist, urban Naxal, all these things. So do we have a level platform for developing critical thinking or creativity is a question mark. Bachelor in vocation, unless is given the status of degree at par with other regular degrees, will be a relegated option. No parent wants to send the child to a vocational stream. Always they have high ideas of sending the child to the medical and other professional studies, but vocational thing is a relegated option. Multidisciplinary subjects in undergraduate and postgraduate is acceptable, I feel. But what about sector-specific disciplines like IIT, IAM? That will destroy this institution's core philosophy, I feel. Also, in order to curb commercialization in education, the best way would be to have top 10, the best government educational institutions like we have in the US. Also, we need to know that private players have contributed a lot in the educational sector. 46% nearly of our students go to private schools. Half of our students go to private schools. So importance of private players is also there. Now, decoding the vocational education in NEP, what do we say? We say it from page 43 or 44 onwards till this section 16.8. And there is this clarion call that is given from the very beginning. Reimagining vocational education. And why do we want to do that? See, in other states, in other countries, formal vocational education from age group of 19 to 24, we have in the USA 52%, Germany 75%, South Korea 96%, and in our India, in the 12 5-year plan, 2012 to 2017, we had less than 5% joining vocational education. What are the reasons? These are the reasons mentioned in the draft NEP 2020 itself. Focus largely on grades 11 and 12. Now it is focused from middle school onwards. That's a good thing. Dropouts in grade 8 and upwards. So all the dropouts are accommodated in the vocational stream. No well-defined pathways in higher education. How to go higher, there's no clear pathway in the past. Now hopefully they say that there would be clear clarity in that. Not designed to provide openings. There's no much opening for students who do vocational education. Then lack of vertical mobility and perceived to be inferior to mainstream education. These are the causes that are enlisted in the NEP 2020, reasons for lack of interest. The roadmap, introduction of vocational subjects from middle school to secondary, from 6th standard to 12th standard, they want to introduce vocational education. Every child learns one or more vocations. So skill labs to be set up in each schools. So secondary schools will collaborate with ITIs, polytechnics, local industries, etc. And by 2025, that is the benchmark they give, at least 50% of the learners will be exposed to vocational education. That is what they target. So how are they going to do that? They are going to have a 3-tier coordination. One is the main one, National Committee for the Integration of Vocal Education, that will promote integration with National Research Foundation, NRF, and they in turn will associate with industries to drive innovation and research. And then we have a National Skill Qualification Framework that they will detail each discipline, vocation, and profession. And this is with regard to technical education. We will be having degree program also and diploma program also, which would have subjects like engineering, technology, management, architecture, town planning, pharmacy, hotel management, catering, technology, etc. My recommendation, there should be a strong linkage between the industries and vocational education institution. Second, government should create entrepreneurship-oriented programs with expanded high-quality opportunities that can make effective use of these qualifications. And third, and most important, parents and students should be reoriented towards vocational education. Conclusion, NEP 2020, which is touted to be a game changer in the educational sector, is largely an imitation of the Western education system that is in vogue in the schools and higher educational institutions all over America and Europe. And this is our slogan, think globally and act locally. Then I also think that the ghost of NEP 2019, though not obviously seen in the present document, could surface in its implementation is the common fear. The devil lies in the implementation, they say. And for me, truly, if NEP 2020 has to become a game changer, it will have to enhance the lives of the common people, the subalterns of, and those at the margins of our society, periphery of our society, than just making India a global knowledge superpower. I want the lives of people, common people, to change with NEP. The proof of the pudding is in the eating, they say, and I hope that will happen. Knowledge, if it has to increase and open up our minds, we need to have freedom. Fear has to be out of the place. And then only knowledge can, increase, and we can draw the best in human beings. So that freedom we need to have in education. These are my references. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Father Tellis. That was indeed a very insightful presentation on the NEP 2020. And yes, you also elicited the pros and cons very well. So we are very thankful about that. I'm sure a lot of people have a lot of questions on the NEP right now, but I suggest that you please hold those questions for now for the question and answer session. While we move on to Mr. Amar Prabhu, who will be talking about vocational education, which Father Tellis was talking about. Uh, for Amar, sir, basically, I'll introduce himself. I'll introduce Amar, sir. Basically, he's a wonderful friend of mine, and we've been in contact quite often when it comes to vocational initiatives. Just introducing him, Mr. Amar Prabhu is the principal of St. Joseph's ITI under the Don Bosco Group of Institutions for Technical Education and is a true example of a rising son of the soil in India. Amar's father worked in a factory as a turner with no formal education in the trade. Later on, he quit the job and became an auto rickshaw driver in Mumbai. On his many trips within the city, he passed the Don Bosco Institute, Kurla, often and dreamt of getting his son Amar educated there. He fulfilled his dream when his son secured admission on merit for the turner's trade in the institute. Amar qualified as a turner in 1995. The principal of the institute discovered in him the passion to teach. Amar joined the institute as an instructor and continued with passion to teach for 14 years. He became the vice principal in 2009 and assumed charge as the principal of the institute in 2012. All the activities undertaken by him are oriented towards development of students living up completely to the mission of St. Joseph is to empower the marginalized and disadvantaged youth by imparting market-driven employment-linked skill training. He is deeply involved in training life skills to students through non-traditional method of engagement, through group discussion on relevant topics, video clips, role plays, etc. that engage the youth who are mostly from slums and families with problems like drinking, physical abuse, and have no exposure to a life of love and peace in a family. Sustaining them through the course duration is a great challenge. Love, respect, and patience works with them, and that is the technique he encourages his team to use in class and outside class so that they find meaning in life and become responsible citizens. As principal of the institute, he has brought many changes. A few of the significant changes are creating a learning environment, upgrading the machineries, equipment in the labs and workshops as per the latest technological trends, shifting the entire emphasis on outcome-based training with exposure to latest equipment and assessment systems, collaborated with the Indian and international companies like Toyota, Ford, Groha Germany, etc., for setting up state-of-the-art workshops for the respective trades. He introduced the computer-based training curriculum in vocational education, instituted industrial visits and on-the-job training for students to get a feel of the real workplace, and made basic computer skills and spoken English part of all the courses being conducted in the institute. His profile is a lot longer than
That's
that, but I think I'm running out of breath here. So I'll
okay.
let Mr. Amar Prabhu take over. But before that, I've asked him to focus on some of the questions which were presented to him earlier. Is that he'll be talking, the questions which are presented to him is what is the scenario of vocational studies currently in India, and are candidates easily aspire towards it? The second question was, what is the earliest age presently for an individual to start vocational training? And how easy or difficult is it to get into vocational studies and the course content as compared to a mainstream education, like, say, being a doctor or an engineer or something like that? And I've also asked him, how do you foresee the NEP changing the vocational education scenario in India in the coming days? And the second last question is, how has the COVID situation impacted their current training methodology, and how does he foresee the new normal when it comes to that education? And lastly, I will ask him to talk about the initiatives that his organization also undertakes. Amar sir, the dais is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chintan, for this wonderful introduction. And really, I'm amazed that so many things are said. Okay, thank you so much. So, very good afternoon to one and all. Thank you, Father Dr. Tellis, for giving a good overview of NEP. Actually, he has made my job very simple by giving this overview. So, I will try my best that I present to you what was the task given to me. So, let me start with the presentation. So, is my screen to be shared? Is it seen? Is it full screen?
No, it's not full screen yet. You'll have to
Okay.
probably do it again.
Now, 1 minute, just a moment.
Yeah.
Is it? Are you able to see now? No.
Not yet.
Yes. Now, is it there?
No, I think you need to share your screen again.
Okay. Just a moment, please. I'm so sorry for this. Yes. Is it fine?
Um, no, not yet. Maybe you could just try Alt Tab and it will go to full screen.
I'm doing that actually. Is it now?
I think you have to start the PPT now.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes.
हाँ बोल भाई. हाँ ठीक ठीक है ठीक है हाँ ठीक है
Yeah, just click on resume slideshow and
Now is it come?
no, not yet.
Oh gosh,
We can just see your PowerPoint.
okay.
It's not full screen. I think never mind. We could just go slide by slide on this if that helps.
Hello.
sir you have to start the PPT, the slideshow. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, is it come?
Yeah. No, Pragnesh,
Now it's
he's
good.
already starting it, but it's not showing up full screen. So, Amar sir, you just have to, when you share the screen, just select the very first option, turn off screen sharing, and when you share screen, select the very first option on the left side and share. So when you share, you will see the very first option,
Now,
which is desktop one.
it's come, I
Share
think.
your desktop. Yeah, that's it.
Yes, there
Yeah.
you go.
Oh, I'm so sorry for this goof up. Yeah, I just got corrected.
No.
So I spent 2 minutes in this. Okay.
I'm usually the one who gets nervous with lots of principals and teachers around.
Thank you. Okay, so this is my institution, St. Joseph's Industrial Training Institute. We are located in Kurla. He has spoken a lot of me. Let me get straight away to the point. And let me give a little clarity on this. What is this vocational training all about? Okay, when we talk about vocational training, what does it mean? See, it's a definition. What has been there on your screen now, it's a definition which says that vocational training is an education or training that prepares oneself for day-to-day activity. If you really look, that we spend almost 40 years of our lifespan in a particular vocation or in a particular trade. And to acquire this kind of profession or competency or proficiency, we need to either we go with the formal way of vocational training by attending either ITA, Polytechnic, vocational training center, TVET centers or something like that, or we acquire in a very informal way. In India, informal way happens in a bigger way. That let me tell you that. And then it also equips us, okay, to real skills that are exposed to your theoretical and the practical knowledge. So that's the plain definition for us, those who do not know about vocational training. So this definition for us to understand and to set the perspective for our training today for our program. Now, what are these common vocational courses? We are going to talk very few about this, and then a simple list is there on your screen now. We talk about healthcare, social, construction industry, manufacturing sector, food service, accounting, cosmetology, health stylist, computer IT literacy, transportation, and there are many more. We have tried to put few of them to you for your understanding. These are the most common one, and where we find lot of aspirants, the trainees, take part in this kind of training program. Now, what is this vocational education current state? Okay, what are we that? If you look at this representation here, schematic diagram which has been presented to you, which gives a glimpse of a vocational education in a country as of now. If you look at that, the elementary, okay, that is standard 1 to 8, okay, age, and the grade 1 to 8, we have one elementary qualification now. We can call it school dropout or SSA kind of thing. And then actually what happens, it puts us into two compartments. So if you see ourselves in the current situation now, there are two compartments. Here the choice has to be made by a student, okay, whether he wants to get into the academic side or he wants to get into the vocational side. So that conscious choice has to be made at this particular level, that is the standard 8 or standard 10, or SSLC, SSC, or whatever you could say, it is that. But here the challenge is what is that if you select a particular compartment, there is no possibilities for us to come back to the academics, to the technical, and from the technical to the vocational. That is what the new NEP actually try to touch is at, and to diminish that kind of an you could say a borderline wherein there is multi-entry and multi-exit, what father was talking, that could be possible in the new NEP. But in the current system, it is highly impossible. So either you have to get dropped down from a particular system and then restart from the beginning and go back to that basic and then go to the advanced stage, or you continue with a choice or without choice, you continue with that. An interesting figure which I would like to say here, in our country, okay, there are only 10% of the youth, those who opt for the vocational training. Comparatively, the countries which are developed like Germany, Japan, Switzerland, okay, China. In this country, the aspiration of the youth for the vocational education is somewhere around, it goes to around 60% to 89%. So if you really look, the aspiration here is only 10% and they have the excess also. So the skill development and the current our capacity, if I put into the ITI, engineering college, polytechnics, even the TVET center, VET center, VTPs, everything, whatever the systems we have for the vocational training, only we have a training capacity which can accommodate only 3.1 million of the youth. That means the capacity is too less to the population. Those are entering into the job market. It is said only 2% have the access to the formal education with this kind of system. So there is a lack of the good training institutions and the number of training institutions. Then access to the vocational education is good, but however, as an aspiration of the youth to join the vocational education is a last resort. Suppose if I take a choice of any of the parent, if I ask, okay, isko kya karna hai? Okay, what is that he wants to be into the career? The first choice probably he wants to become an engineer, he wants to become a medical officer, he wants to be a doctor, or maybe a statistics, or maybe MBA or whatever. But nobody will say that I want to become a good plumber, I want to become a good technician, because that's the last resort. So kiske paas aata hai? Whom does it get it? It gets only one way scored or less marks in his course into the SSC or SLC, or maybe a school dropout. He may think that yes, I would like to get into vocational education. Then there are current challenges in this particular system. What are these current challenges? Basic academic qualifications required. See, all our courses in the ITI, polytechnics, let us say ITI, minimum qualification what we require is 8th standard pass. Okay, if I'm fifth, if I do not have any reading, writing skill, I do not have any access to in the formal education. It becomes very difficult. Okay, and the minimum qualification what has been set for most of the courses or the vocation are the 10th standard and above. In some cases, 12th and graduations also. So that's a first requirement. That means there is a compartment of a you could say academic qualification and the technical qualification, and the base is kept as an academic qualification. So at times it becomes very difficult in the country like us to many of the youth, okay, to get access to the vocational education. Then no exposure to the vocational education till they complete a secondary education. There are some glimpses here. If I have to put something like in Maharashtra, we have the technical school that is from 8th, 9th and 10th standard. Now it is from 9th and 10th. In Tamil Nadu, there is an industrial school. These are, barring these two states, there is no exposure for the technical or vocational education in the school level. It is as good as zero. Nothing happens. Of course, everything gets connected to our social status when it comes to India, the country like us, which is more diversified. Okay, here we say social status. If somebody wants to get married or something, so he'll say engineer hai kya, graduate hai kya, MBA hai kya. But if I say if I'm a plumber, if I'm a technician, if I'm a turner, or if I'm machinist, so there will be in your marriage market, it will be rated down. So that. Then of course, where we have touched vertical and horizontal mobility, very less. Now some recognition has come. 12th standard equivalence for the ITI course. After doing your 2 years of ITI, you can go for diploma, and after diploma and degree. But the pathways are too long and they will take as good as 5 to 7 years. Of course, the recognition that also matters at the end of the day. And very important point in the student's perspective, youth perspective, what I would like to put here, aspiration versus course offer. Like if I have to become a good automobile technician, there are not many technical institutions across the place, across the city of Mumbai or maybe in Maharashtra or in the country who can offer a good technical. So if there are X number of students, the number of institutions are very less. So what happens, I am aspiring to be an automobile technician, but I do not have access to the mainstream, to the vocational or to the proper formal training. So that becomes a clear challenge. And the very important which lies in a schooling system, I don't know whether NEP addresses this, but I feel still there is an issue. There is a lack of career counseling which has to happen right at the school, his schooling time. That is very, very important, and which lacks in our system. So the counseling lacks, and because of that, there are a lot of, most of the careers, what happens is an accidental careers for us. So either you get into that or you continue to that, and we have to spend 40 years or 40,000 hours in doing this kind of thing. 4 lakh hours, sorry. Then a little glimpse again here about journey of qualification framework in India. We started earlier, till now, rather we could say, the ministries are involved in actually promoting the vocational education. Earlier we had a Ministry of Employment, MOL, we call Ministry of Labor and Employment. Okay, they were the one who were the you could say a driving seat to drive the vocational education in our country. So they came up with a very good and you can say national vocational qualification framework in year 2013. Okay, this is what we started. Then later on, HRD came into and they brought in the new policy which was called said to be as a NVQF. Okay, National Vocational Education and Qualification Framework. Okay, and later on, the you could say the shootouts of this were NSQF. Whereas in our new NAP policy, it speaks about the NSQF, and I'm quite happy that in the real sense now probably the NSQF will make sense and it will be put into the practice. What Father was saying was very right. We have a good ambition, but when it comes to the implementation, it becomes a challenging. It becomes very difficult. So the NSQF actually was brought in 2015 and 2018 it was supposed to be free and everybody, including ITS, polytechnics, private institution, TVET center, VET, everybody were supposed to follow the NSQF curriculum or the NSQF levels, but nothing has actually taken and it has gone ahead. But however, now probably it is going to get aligned. Little just again on the NSQF. What is this NSQF? NSQF was issued by the Economics Affairs Department. It has a 10 level. So if I start with the level 1, okay, let me see if I'm just a worker. I do not have the formal qualification. Okay, but I have a knowledge and skill. So probably I might fall into the level 1, level 2 or level 3. So it has a levels which defines right from a basic education or basic vocational education to the doctorate program, that is level 10. Then it speaks about the level of descriptors, include the processes. Here very beautifully, if you read the document of NSQF, it has very beautifully said the process oriented. What is the professional knowledge one has to put into a particular job? If I have to do a particular job, what kind of knowledge he has to bring in? What kind of professional core skill he has to bring? And what very important is a responsibility. Suppose if an individual has to go from, let us say, from a technician, then he has to move ahead to maybe a general manager of a particular organization. So when he grows to that particular pathways of it, so what are his roles changes, what are his responsibility changes that are very well defined into this NSQF level. Then of course standardization, where we count that everything are defined into core competency, knowledge, aptitude, skills, everything, and the learning times are there, how much hours and an average what we could spend there, that is also been given there. Then qualification register, it is said in the policy, but in reality I have not seen this is put into the practice. But there was a policy that qualification register was there, but it is there, but it's not publicly done. It is there with the policy maker and those who set the NOS, okay, National Occupational Standards. For them that is accessible, but for us it is quite difficult. Then the qualification register, which will available on the web portal, as of now no sign of this. Taking ahead with the NSQF framework, so here you could say level 0 to level 1, there are two levels which I put that is said to be RPL. RPL, which I spoke about, in technician who does not have a formal certificate. Because in India, everything works on the passport. You require a passport, you require a certificate. If you want a good job, they may give you to do some trade test, but that will be given once you give you your ITI certificate or diploma or degree or whatever in that sense. So that becomes a challenge. The year there was a breakthrough was brought by introducing the RPA, the recognition of prior learning, wherein the Sector Skill Council is again under the NSDC, under the Ministry of Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. It gets divided into two parts. One is the NCVT and another one is an SDC, that is DGET and the NSDC. So DGET takes care of all the ITI, apprenticeship training and all those kind of things. And the NSDC takes care under the Sector Skill Council, all the various sectors which are there, which has been implemented in our country. So if you look at this levels, the level says from level 1 to level 10. So if I have to put the level 10 is a degree and level 10 is a grade, that is in the schools, okay, 9th and 10th standard. Okay, in the NSQF in the school, actually they brought in the school. The recent change in the last 5 years, it was been put. The one has a flexibility, the student has a flexibility to drop a particular subject. Barring the language, he can drop a particular subject and he can choose a particular vocation or maybe a particular trade. Okay, it can be multi-skilling, it can be automobile technology, it can be retail, it can be security. Okay, there are around 11 to 12 skills are available where we can drop one subject and you can take. So there was that you could say there was an boost was given through this by introducing the NSQF in the school. But however, not all the school, it got implemented in some schools, then it was under project mode, mission mode, and then now it is still okay deliberation. But I think NAP might bulldoze everything of this. And there was a good thing which we learned that national competency certificate was to be given to everybody. It may be by different agencies. It could be Board of Technical Education, it could be Sector Skill Council, it could be NCVT, it could be universities. But if you really look at now the current situation, if I am an engineer, okay, and if I go with an qualification of BE or B Tech or so, there is nowhere the competency has been mentioned. So there is a challenge. There is even the NSQF talks about that, and this is almost now 7 years now into the implementation of NSQF, but still this has not come. Tomorrow we would like to see the ad in the newspaper. We would like to hire a technician with an NSQF level 5. So that doesn't mean that one should have a diploma. Here what we do in our country, we say diploma matlab level 5 ho gaya, okay, advanced diploma matlab level 7 ho gaya, or degree matlab level 10 ho gaya. That is a problem. And but actually NSQF does not talk about that. The NSQF only talks one language, that is National Competency Certificate. So that's very important. We hope to see that to happen with this new policy. This is regarding the NSQF. Father spoke to about this new model, okay, 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So we shall skip this particular slide because you must have got the fair understanding by now what the new NEP says. But here now, Father spoke about the vocational education. I will like to touch on the same point, but keeping in mind the realities and what we got it when we studied the document. So NEP for the Technical and Vocational Education Training Center, everything comes under there, the diploma, the polytechnics, the engineering college, the vocational training institutions, everything can come here. The ambitious plan, the 50% of the learners going through the school and the higher education system shall have the exposure for the vocational education. It's excellent. You compare to the 10% and we are taking a leap by missing all the 40% and now we are going to 50%. I am too also very with a pinch of salt will say how the implementation is going to be. It's going to be a real challenging for us. However, we'll be little optimistic here and we shall go ahead. That because of the following things, maybe. Like for example, from the standard 6th onward, the NEP says that from standard 6th onward, the vocational subjects will be given. They could be electric work, there could be carpentry, there could be pottery, there could be welding, there could be, okay, maybe sewing and cutting, maybe, okay, hospitality. So those skills will be given there. So that means skilling at early age. That means a learner, a student, when he's in the school itself, he'll get an exposure for the vocational education. So by that time he comes to the 8th standard or maybe 10th grade or something, 10th class, maybe he make a fair decision whether he has an aptitude or the aspiration or the interest getting in, not into the academics, he can get into the vocational education and that can be made his career. So that is what is aimed, and I think that's the goal for this NEP as of now. Then, okay, at least one vocation. Here it is also very good and it is very nice to see that at least one vocation the learner has to take. Okay, and he can be exposed more than that, but one. And the second next thing what has been said is 10 days of bagless. And here what is, I love this part. It is saying that this 10 days they can spend with one vocational expert. So maybe if there is a gardener, okay, and there is a school and you can say this particular individual, a particular student wants to spend this 10 days with this gardener, I think that the school will allow, and that will be a bagless days, those for that the student might get there. So that's a very good thing. Then also NEP proposes similar kind of internship opportunities from standard 6 to standard 12. So that means now where we get into the formal apprenticeship, the internships are only given, okay, either in diploma or in degree, now in ITA by DST. But in standard 6th, 10th and 11th and 12th, as of current system, there is no such kind of flexibility. Whereas here they are saying that the internship possibilities are there. Then there is a flexibility, what Father already spoke. Here we say, very good. That means at every stage where the learner drops out, okay, or he's out of the system, he will be knowing, sorry to use this word dropout, so he will be not called as dropout per se as of now. What maybe he has dropped out from the first year, he might still get one certificate, second year diploma, third year degree, maybe after that maybe a degree, of course, that he completes that. And the Father spoke about the academic bank credit, which means that I take up this particular occasion maybe up to after class 10 and I decide to go to the world of work, and probably after a couple of years for my promotion, if I have to come back and if I have to continue with my higher education, there is a scope. Why? Because the ABC is there. The academic bank credit system will be in the play. So I do not have to go back to the foundation again, nor I have to restart from the level O again. I might go to the level 4 or level 5 of my competency and I might move away. And also very proficiently it has been put inside. Even your work experience can be counted here. So that's an excellent thing. So that means you had put in a certain number of years of work, and that also can be taken here. Then local teacher education program, that also NEP touches on that. But in the vocational education, we need to come up with a certain system wherein we train the master trainer. Okay, we are not talking about that. So we need to train the master trainer. That is what. This is what we got. We could say we pulled it out from the policy, that probably because it says the NEP it will be implemented by 2025. That means there are 5 years probably experimentation or preparing the working model or getting into place or putting the infrastructure into places, all the resources into places. 5 years is kind of a timeline which has been given to put everything into place, especially into vocational education. So it could be something. These are 4 to 5 guesses what we are putting into, keeping in mind what may happen, or maybe the implementation model. It could be that the skill-based exposure, obviously it will start from standard 6, but there might be a specialization which might start from standard 9 to standard 12. Okay, so that will be a possibility. Then of course there is a credit accumulation and credit transfers will happen, and it will happen from standard 9, and that might be carried forward till the master's degree. Then probably a specialization after class 10, because there will be no board examination at class 10. So probably the specialization might start by class 10, and the switching over from the one vocation to another. Probably I have been as an welder for a particular year, but now I want to aspire to become a machinist. There could be a possibility. So there might be a seamless transfer from one vocation to another vocation. Could be possible. And very interesting part which has come here, which has to happen in our country, which should have been happening a little before. The schools, I think, compulsorily, mandatorily have to tie up with the vocational training center. So it could be VetNet center, it could be ITIs, it could be polytechnics, or it could be industry cluster. And it has been put into the policy. That means if there is a school running in my neighborhood, they have to connect with us, or either they have to start with their own particular training institution where it could be difficult. The idea of networking might work here, because we have done some experiment. We had identified, actually we had given this kind of opportunity for the schools. There are 3 schools close to us. The Holy Cross is here, Fatimas are here, and the Bombay Utkal. We had invited the class 8, 9, 10 students to come here and to spend some time with us, and they have learned the various multi-skilling we had given them, and that has really worked out very well. So this is we have done a pilot, but now the NEP says that, and this could be a brilliant thing, but there are the implementation challenges probably that could be taken care into the near future. Now I'll straight away now move to from the NEP to the COVID situation now. Mr. Chintan has put me a question. How does the vocational training actually have rediscovered itself in this COVID times? It has been difficult. Very first, everybody of us knows, all into the quarantine, all at the in the lockdown. So practical are stalled. So there is no practical happening in any of the technical institutions, either government, private, or whichever, semi-government, whatever you say. The practicals have completely stalled. Okay, but they opened up. This particular situation has opened up the new opportunity. The new opportunities I call LMS system, learning management system. We as an institutions, many of us have actually now started getting into the learning management system, maybe taking the advantage of the technology, taking the advantage of the platforms which are available, online platforms which are available. So that opened up, and it gives a clear kind of, you could say, opportunity for us to grow at the higher. Then new training methodology and the training material. Now everything we were on the blackboard, whiteboard system, chalkboard system. Now we have moved into the class sharing. We have gone to Google Meet. We have gone to Google Class. We have gone into Microsoft Meet. So everything has changed. So that means there has been emphasis on the creating the more learning materials that has come. Okay, and very important, which I would like to stress here, is a change in the mindset. So here I have an instructor who is the age of the 60 years. Now he started using the internet to the fullest. He started using the Zoom app very well. He started, so there has been a mindset. Similarly, of course, the millennial group, the students of those are there in ITA, into the various work, they had that little exposure through the online gaming and other things. But for the teachers, for the instructors, okay, this has been a big change. And this is where we have come now, and this has helped. And the trainers are adopting the new technology. Okay, online skills, knowledge enhancement. What has happened during this lockdown period? Okay, many online courses have come. Okay, so many instructors, many of us also, we have gone through so many of the number of courses. So we have enhanced our knowledge. we are enhance a skill. Okay, it has also pushed the ministry to come up with a new portal. So DBET has its own e-portal. The Ministry of Skill Development has its own portal set to base and Bharat Skills, wherein if you log on there, you'll get all the e-contents, you will get all the videos, and many of these videos are the local videos. That means you will find a script in Hindi, you will find a script in Gujarati, you will find a script in Marathi. So that is good. The YouTube has become a very big thing, lot of things. Every instructor who takes a class, after his class, he shares the YouTube link. So there is a revision which happens, and it forces something into us, into the, you could say, as in continuous learning and also a lifelong learning. So that has actually brought the COVID one way in, it has brought us some little learnings out. And then this is why I say capitalizing on the opportunity, that is MOOC. Okay, massive open line or open online courses, very, very important. I think as an educationist, as an institution, this is the way to go forward, that we have to invest, okay, into the MOOC training. That is very, very important, and it is accessible not only now in our region, but in the state, but into the country, and probably to the world. Okay, that is where we have to move. The universities are moving there, and probably the skill universities, we also have to move as a vocational institution, have to move to this particular platform. What is now new normal? Now this is very good jargon. I love this jargon, new normal. So in this new normal, what we are saying, the voluntary force for the use, voluntary or the force for the use of online training, either by choice or no choice, I have to get on the online training platform. Okay, it is a struggle. It might take a little time, but we are there. Also, a very good thing that skill transfers is now happening through the tools like artificial intelligence, augmented reality, and the Internet of Things. Okay, this is happening in the big time now. And let me tell you, as an tech service, I think this is where our technology is going to go now. We are going to go here only. That is, AI is what is talking. We are thinking of starting AI course in our institution for the school kids, for the ITF or polytechnic engineering. The automation is another thing what we have to talk. I was happy to see one of our instructor had come here and was doing some videos here and putting it to the boy. Well, that's not a AI, but it is an example. Then acceptance of lifelong learning. Everybody is learning. Okay. Boost to the digital India movement. Of course, with little network issues and rural India, we are challenging. There are a lot of challenges. Okay, that is one. And new jargon I would like to put here: learn from home. We have always heard about work from home. I would like to say learn from home now. Possible. So I'm anticipating, I'm quite optimistic, probably the vocational education, tomorrow the ministry or maybe we take the decision saying that like all the theory will happen from the home now, and here you come only for the practical exposure. So that means the trainee is more focused, he clears his doubts in the class by sitting at home, not idling his time, not wasting his time, but now learning, then coming back more prepared, more enthusiastic, and very happy to learn. So this is what I think that might be a new normal for us in the coming days or maybe in the coming years. Something about my institution again, we are part of the Don Bosco Tech Society, which was established in 2006. Our institution was established, Don Bosco Tech Society was established in 2006. It is spread around 28 states across. There are many funding partners. We do a lot of training program. There are more than 1,000 staff, more than potential employees, sometimes around 1,200, and we provide this quality training in the and well-known forum into the Skilling India. Okay, in the Skilling, when we call Skilling India, Don Bosco is one of the known fraternity for accessing the vocational, especially for the vulnerable and the marginalized group of the society. This is little bit, so many projects, districts and all those things we are training. The figures are 2 lakh, but I think it has moved now to almost double of this figure. Then NGOs, so many companies we have. We do a lot of program. We customize a lot of training program. We have a lot of tie-ups with the different organizations, almost 1,000 companies. We have the time. The very important, the placement has been more than 75% in most of the program. In some institutions like us, we are touched to almost 89% of the placement. We have a good industry collaborations across the country, across the institutions. Okay, something about my campus. I am from Don Bosco, Kurla, and my campus is set to be as Don Bosco Center for Learning. We started, my institution is started as St. Joseph Industrial Training Institute. Very soon we'll be changing the name to Don Bosco Industrial Training Institute, established in 1965. Then we have Don Bosco Maritime Academy. Then we have Don Bosco College. Then we have Engineering College, which was established in 2000. Then we have the other Don Bosco College, which was established in year 2008. This is my campus. This is how it looks. You are most welcome to visit us anytime. Our aim is very clear: to skill the youngsters, make them employable, make them responsible citizen, and over and above, a good human being. These are some of the courses. We offer 3 types of courses. One is ITA, NCVT recognized, Maharashtra State Board of Vocational Education. Some courses are recognized to that. Industry affiliated. This is a list of our courses, what we offer. We can send you this presentation. You are most welcome to visit our website, get little bit. I'll just skip this slide. We have been, I'm very proud to say that we have been awarded the best ITA by the Maharashtra State Government. Okay, this is we receiving the award on the behalf. St. Joseph's ITA is committed for creating a sustainable career for the youth of our society through skill development. That's all from my side. Thank you very much for your patience listening. Mr. Chintan, I hope I'm on the time, and thank you very much for this opportunity. Okay, thank you all. Thank you all.
Thank you, Amar sir. Very in-depth knowledge on the vocational education. This actually brings to my mind the quote by Albert Einstein. I'm sure many have heard this, but I'll say this regardless. It says that if every child is born a genius, but if you judge the ability of a fish by its ability of climbing a tree, the fish will keep thinking throughout its life that it is worthless. So while most of the parents think that they want their children to become doctors or engineers or many other professions which have been coming up these days, um, a fish is a fish, right? So if a child is born with a capability, with a talent towards being technically sound and technician, he will always be able to do that the best. I myself, as an example, being the 4th generation in my family in plumbing, when I wanted to get into plumbing, I did not know how to go about it. And the mainstreams were always calling me, oh, come become a doctor or be something like that. And I would be like, okay, can I become that? But I didn't know that it ran in my genes. So the way you put it was perfect. And so now we move on to our next speaker, Swathi. Swathi is a great friend of mine. We had some wonderful time in Kazan, Russia during the World Skills. Introducing Swathi, she currently works at IAPMO India and is also a team member of International Water Sanitation and Hygiene of the IAPMO Group. The managing director of IWish, Mr. Sean Kearney, is also here with us in the session today. I guess he's joined us all the way from Australia. Correct me if I'm wrong. So it's very nice to see Sean with us here today. Welcome, Sean. And Swathi holds a Bachelor of Engineering graduate in Environmental Science with further experience as a design engineer in the public health engineering sector. She has served as a technical committee member of IAPMO India's 2014 and 2017 Uniform Plumbing Code India, and 2013 and 2017 Water Efficient Products of India, which deals with the star ratings like you have for energy. There's also a star rating for water efficiency. So she's been a part of that. Her work also takes her across India to oversee a range of plumbing training and educational programs. Swathi has played a key role in organizing teams for community plumbing challenge projects in India and Indonesia, and has participated in several editions of the Health Habitat Nepal Village Sanitation Program. As a key member of the IAPMO group, she also participated in Plumbing and Heating Champions project at World Skills Kazan 2019. That's what I was telling you all about. And she is the recipient of the World Plumbing Council Education and Training Scholarship for the year 2018, the very first woman to be awarded this accolade. So that's Swathi. Very proud of you.
Thank you,
Very proud feeling. So with Swathi being more of a friendly approach here, we're going to have more of a discussion with Swathi rather than having any PowerPoint presentations. I hope, Swathi, you're comfortable with that.
Sorry for that. You'll have to see our faces now.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
But I'm really thankful for you for organizing this session. You know, it's a nice brainstorming and ideating session of the policy has come, and we individuals representing each organizations can surely take something out of it and see how our education system can be better and it can make a better plumber. You know. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. So yeah, now that we come to Swathi, my very first question to you today is, please brief us about what is the current training methodology, when it comes to plumbing education, and what kind of methodology is employed throughout the world, or overseas rather, because we spoke more about India. Amar sir gave us an insight about what's happening in India when it comes to vocational education. But can you give us an insight what happens overseas in other countries as well?
Yeah, so I have colleagues, plumber colleagues, who are spread across the world. You know, in US, in Australia, and Indonesia. I've worked with plumbers, plumbing groups, and industry related, where we do a lot of community plumbing projects. So the training for plumbing in the US consists of a 5-year apprenticeship course. The apprentices attend the school to learn the design sizing techniques based on codes, while also working in the field and learning hands-on portions from an experienced plumber like a journeyman or a master plumber. Many other classes are also required, including safety, welding, drawing, and other trade topics. Upon graduation from the 5-year program, every state in US has a different apprentice exam, which they will have to attend. So it's a continuous learning platform there. It's the In the Australian skill system also, it's the same apprenticeship and traineeship, uh, a comprehensive plumbing apprenticeship program which runs. So when Amar sir and Father Teres, they spoke about the vocational training institutes, and how the trainings are imparted in India. What I see the missing link is the apprenticeship program, and how the industry is backing these is absent in backing most of these trainings. And I
Mhm.
feel working as an industry group in the provision of apprenticeship training will enable timely response to the market changes, ensuring quality plumbers are moving into the field to meet the demand of the industry also.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even when I interact with many plumbers, I ask them that what is the kind of qualification that you have. He says nothing. I just picked up a spanner and learned under my ustad and became a plumber. So I ask him that, I always tell plumbers, you should feel proud that you're a plumber, because prevention is better than cure, and you plumbers prevent 98% of waterborne diseases, and a doctor only cures. But how is it fair that a doctor needs to spend multiple years, more than 5 or 6 years, to just become a doctor and start practicing? And how is it fair that you just pick up a spanner and become a plumber? So yeah, you hit the nail
Yeah.
on the head exactly when you say that. So what is the kind of duration that people have to undergo training to even practice as a plumber in other countries?
So it's basically in US, the first year itself, as an apprentice, you are learning plumbing, and also you are on the field. The
Hmm.
best part of it is, as an apprentice, the student itself is earning out of it also. The first year
Right.
he earns $40 per hour, or second year it goes gradually, and when he gets a licensed plumber, it goes to an extent of him earning $1,000 per hour. So
Oh,
you
okay.
see, yeah, the value also is there. The importance to plumbers is also given.
Wow, wonderful. So, my
Yeah.
next question to you, Swathi, is plumbing considered as much as a social stigma as it is in India, or is it, a plumber has a better respect in other countries? I would like to, after you have done your answer, I would also like to rope in Sean, if you could just put in an input here, with your due permission, of course.
So should I wait for him, or
No, please, please. I
yeah,
need the answer from you first, because you've traveled a lot as well. So please give in your
yeah.
input first.
So the social stigma we just discussed, Mr. Amar Prabhu, he spoke a lot about how vocation is pursued. So even in the US or other developed countries, at one point of time in US, plumbing was considered to be a very high level occupation. Plumbers were held high in public eye, much like a doctor or a lawyer. But that seemed to change over the years as culture changed, and it was believed that if you do not attend a 4-year university and get a college degree, you could not amount to anything. So that's something similar which is here at present. But the plumbing trade and the related organizations have been working hard to improve and change the perception of people. and it is starting to work, and more people are seeing the importance of plumber. And there are few incidents of water contamination, or even the COVID-19, the SARS pandemic before the COVID-19. It has all showed that there is a requirement for better plumbing systems in the world, and it has certainly changed the way people look at a plumber. Yeah, it's still not gained the respect it should, in my opinion, but it is gaining.
Wonderful, wonderful. So it's really good to know that.
Yeah.
Sean, would you be able to put in your inputs here? Sean, are you there? I believe Sean is in a spectating mode right now.
No, I think he's not in a position.
Yeah, okay, doesn't matter.
So he's
Doesn't
listening
matter.
to us.
Yeah. Okay. So my next question, Swathi, to you is what kind of skill certifications or upgrade programs or scholarships are available for trainers in India, specifically? Because Amar sir very specifically said that, you sometimes do not get up to the mark trainers. And more importantly, what happens is that sometimes trainers become complacent. What they learned during their learning days is only being taught while the world is moving at a much faster pace when it comes to technology. So if you could tell us something about that.
Yeah, so the upskilling or any training programs available in IAPMO India, it's not exclusively for trainings, but it is open for all plumbing professionals because these training programs are based on the framework uh, and it is aimed to prepare multiple levels of professional groups in India to read, interpret, understand, engage, and apply the provisions of the Uniform Plumbing Code India Code Book. So the Uniform Plumbing Code India Code Book is a code book which is developed by the Indian Plumbing Association. So it is an up-to-date code book with plumbing designs, initial installations, and how to maintain the systems. So there are various courses which are adopted from, which are designed based on the technical aspects of the code book. And we seek partnerships and initiatives with various colleges, institutes, government departments to fulfill the quality education in plumbing for this. I should also mention that IAPMO has various online platforms available as of now during the COVID situation, where any trainer or any professional can go click on the website and take the benefit out of these trainings, online trainings. I should also mention the World Plumbing Council. It has a yearly scholarship which is offered to interested members who want to learn and explore plumbing in different countries. So we both have utilized these scholarship platforms to learn from Singapore or Australia or anywhere else. So there are platforms. The industry also is open for people to come learn, look into their country, how the industry is going on there, and spread the word of awareness and all this. Yeah.
Amazing. So that brings me to my very next question. So as you rightly said that, the education methodology and the dissemination of knowledge is constantly evolving. And NEP is one of those evolutions, right? The National Education Policy is an evolution in itself. So how do you see the NEP 2020 as Amar sir and Father Tellis explained it to us? How do you see that going hand in hand with the kind of education system, with the kind of training system that you have overseas? How do you compare it basically out to the global system? Do you think we will be able to reach that level because of NEP?
For matter, I will say we have already reached at a certain point. I can say we have already reached there, but there is a lot for us to achieve. I say we have reached to a global level because we saw India participating in the plumbing world skills for the first time last year in Kazan. So there is a way to go reach there. The overall new policy document is a great document. It's a long road to transforming the education system in India. And Father Tellis and Amar Prabhu also mentioned some of the concerns we have in the implementation side of the policy. We'll only have to wait and see. I just request the industry people to take responsibility of changing the mindset of people to make sure they appreciate this particular profession. A lot of awareness needs to be happening around this. Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Swathi, could you just tell us a little more about what are the initiatives of IAPMO and what is I Wish? It sounds very interesting. I mean, this the moment I've heard about I Wish, it sounds like it sounds going out there and doing something for many countries and people who need plumbing and sanitation. Could you just tell us about that?
Yeah. So the IAPMO group is a complete service organization. We provide IAPMO providing co-development assistance, industry-leading education, personal certification, plumbing product testing, research and certification, building product evaluation, and these are the various components, various business units IAPMO is working towards, and all the IAPMO group focuses on where plumbing is protecting the health of the people. Okay, so IAPMO's charitable wing is the International Water, Sanitation and Hygiene Foundation. We call it IWISH in short. And here in IWISH, the skills and expertise of water industry professionals, various vocational experts come together to solve a critical water, sanitation and hygiene initiative across the world. So there's a group of experts, skilled experts, we come together, we develop a school sanitation system or a township sanitation system. So that's what we do in an effort to make people realize that how plumbing affects the health systems, health of a person, and how much it is important, to serve the basic need of a person, that is water, safe water. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So yeah, Swati, it's been wonderful talking to you. I believe you answered most of the questions I'm sure many people must be having in their minds already. With this, we come to this end of this wonderful talk session. But before we end this, I'm sure many people have some questions in their mind. And may I request everybody, if you have any questions, please click on the raise hand option or turn on your camera so that we can go person by person. And please feel free to introduce yourself, and please make sure that you ask question to whichever person you want. So please specify which person you're asking the question to. So yeah, do we have any first question coming up? So when there are no questions, there are two possibilities. Either everybody has been sleeping or everybody understood everything so perfectly. So I want to go with the latter part, that I believe the presentations and the session was so wonderful that everything has been explained very well. But I personally myself have a question that, being a parent, I would like to ask a question to Father Tellis. Father Tellis, my question is, currently considering the national education policy, the draft, I believe it's a draft, right, for now. And how soon do you think?
It's not a draft. It's not a draft. It's a policy.
It's a policy.
Approved by the cabinet. Yes.
I see. Yeah.
Draft was 2019.
I see. Okay. So my question is, how fast will this be implemented? Say, for example, if I have my children in school right now, or probably, in the later half of the school, their higher secondary education, 8th, 9th, 10th, something like that. Will they be impacted, or will this, take a longer time to come out so that, something like that?
We had this webinar on some other day with CBCI and other groups, and therein Anita Karwa, the Secretary of Education, she was mentioning that they would first harvest the low-lying fruits. Okay, and wherein the expenditure would not be there. But that is creating the norms and regulations, building up the different committees to look into the different aspects of syllabi, and formation of the content of the standard. That is going on. The process is on. All this will be there. So the lower, what we are thinking is from 2022, they would start with the 9th standard. And then the 10th, 11th, 12th.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's what the discussion was entailing about during the last meeting that we had.
So it's as immediate as 2022.
Yes, definitely.
Wonderful.
And the work is on, and a lot of things are being done right now. Also, we had 122 questions that we had to answer in the online something that put up on the portal, and we did give our suggestions for implementation.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful.
Yes.
So, but I got one more question. I don't know. I don't see anybody else coming up with questions. I think I'm the only one who's got the questions here today.
Chintan, if you are
So,
done, I can barge in then. If you are done
yes, please,
once,
Pragnesh bhai. Yes,
you go
Pragnesh
ahead.
bhai,
You
please.
go, you finish
I
with your
just have
question.
one question. I just have one last question. Will this policy impact across all the boards, like CBSE, ICSE, the international boards, the IGCSE, and you got so many different boards? Will it impact each and every single board, or is it you know?
Definitely the Indian boards, but
Okay,
IP I am not very sure.
okay, okay,
The NEP is meant for the whole nation.
right.
So some way or the other, everyone will have to fall in line.
I see. Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful. Yes, your question, Pragnesh bhai.
Yeah, good evening, everybody. I'm Pragnesh Makwana here. I just wanted to ask Swathi two things about IAPMO. One thing was that I am given to understand that IAPMO is also doing certification of different products which are manufactured over here in India, products which are related to our plumbing industry as such. Can you just give us some idea about those certifications? And the second question was that if I want to do some kind of training courses with IAPMO, so how should I go ahead with that particular thing? Thank you.
Okay, your first question was on product testing and certification. So the product certification and testing in India is based on the UPCI mark. So we give a product certification mark such as in UPCI. These products are tested and certified based on the standards the product is being manufactured. So the quality of the product is the main thing which is looked into it. Uh, Probably I could share your email, or if you could share your email ID or your phone number, I can talk to you more on that because it's not entirely related. I shouldn't.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll send down my email ID to might be Chintan, and Chintan can forward it to you.
Yes, I will forward it
I'll
to
Yeah,
Swathi.
definitely give you a call tomorrow morning first thing and we can discuss more on this. Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Okay. And the second question was on the education and how you could take this education. As I mentioned, we partner with training institutions for implementing most of the trainings. So if you're an individual who is looking for a training, I would suggest you go for online trainings as of now, which is available in the IAPMO website. Or we can form a group, like there are few people who here, or we could form a group and we can make a training exclusive for a group of participants,
Thank you very much.
Yeah, sure. Make sure you just send your email ID and phone number
Yeah,
to Chin, and I'll
yeah,
talk to
yeah.
you
Okay,
details.
thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very
I
much.
believe there's another question. Hand is raised by Mr. Chandrasekhar.
Yeah,
Mr. Chandrasekhar, please go ahead.
yes. My question to Father Fernandes, as I see that NEP 2020 has, it looks like a, very visionary document. But I just wanted to understand, because he has a very strong academic, educational background, how in the rural setup of our country, where we in general know that institutions, the infrastructure is so weak, and then how this is something which government will work to ensure that this will be built up. And then next is that how the rural population, the parents who are there, how they will be given some kind of an awareness about on this subject, and which institution, if there is any program on that, then which institution will involve in make this kind of an awareness among the parents. Then only it can come into the students or the in the class, that which particular skill they will choose, or among what skills available. I see that at that age group of 6, starting from 6, I think the parents' role is very, very important. So how this has been taken into the consideration? I just want to know this. If it is, you know that.
See, all policies are aspirational. So when the real problem comes is only when it is implemented. And most of the time in India, we find that implementation is a big problem because the country is so diverse and there's so much of poverty and migration that we see from one state to another, one region to another. So it is going to be a very, very difficult issue. And I am not in the government, so I don't think I can give you a proper answer to that. But I really feel that rural areas will have a little bit of a difficulty unless we have NGOs and other agencies from the government at the grassroots who would, come to their aid. And with the government trying to say that they are going to expand connectivity with regard to digitalization and things will be put in the portal, I hope it happens. And given the mobility that is there, that mobile things being used by even the common person, and the cost of it is also not too high, I think so we could have a very rosy picture in the future, I feel. I don't want to sound negative because, there is a lot of things in the NEP which are very, very positive, and it could impact if the government uses the resources, especially 6% of our GDP. But it has to be more than 6%. That alone will not suffice if we have to reach out to the masses. And we need to have committed people. So these all things, issues have to be solved, and the government will have to, really involve itself right from the grassroots level, so that, even in the rural, parents will be able to decide for their child. Even all the poor person would aspire to become, to have a decent living. So that aspiration is there for all of us. So all of us have to work together as countrymen and countrywomen.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do we have any further questions? Do I see a question coming up? I don't see any further questions. So I believe most of the questions that people had have been answered. So with this, we come to the end of this wonderful session. It has indeed been very insightful. We took a deep dive into the vocational studies. We also now know that how the training and education has been going overseas, and we are on our way. So yes, India is shining, and I thank each one of you. We've had a lot of people from organizations, from institutes, academies. We've had principals today. We've had technicians, and we've had parents. And I thank each one of them for joining us today. More importantly, let me first start thanking Father Teles for giving us a very beautiful insight into the NEP, the National Education Policy. And secondly, I thank my dear friend, Mr. Amar Prabhu, who gave us a very good knowledge about the vocational education system that is prevalent in our country and what's the way forward. And our pioneer in the very first woman to get the World Plumbing Council's coveted training and training scholarship. So Swathi, thank you very much for giving us time and sharing the beautiful knowledge that you have about plumbing education in our country and the overseas. So thank you very much, everyone. Before I end, I'll let you know that this presentation will very soon be available on YouTube. And we will meet again on the Tech Savvy group on Saturday evening with one more beautiful session. Everybody's welcome. See you till then. Take care. Goodbye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chintan.
Thanks, Chetan. Thanks,
Goodbye.
my co-panelists, Amar and Swathi. Good job.
Thank you. Nice seeing you. I'll chat with you on the phone. I'll probably